Okay, let's get right into it. You know the feeling. The heat is on, your house is bone dry, your skin feels itchy, and you're getting zapped by static every time you touch something. You've got this whole house humidifier that's supposed to be your hero, but it's doing absolutely nothing. If this sounds like your house right now, well, you've come to the right place. We're about to put on our detective hats and solve the mystery of the silent humidifier. And I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It's that exact moment of frustration. You have the equipment, it's supposed to make your home comfortable, but instead, it feels like you're camping out in the Sahara. It's an incredibly common problem, but here's the good news, the solution is often way simpler than you might think. And before we really start our investigation, let's just quickly remember why we even care about this. You know, a working humidifier isn't just some fancy gadget. We're talking about better respiratory health, especially in the winter. It's about preventing your beautiful wood floors and furniture from drying out and cracking. And yeah, it's about getting rid of those annoying static shocks. It all adds up to just making your home feel, well, comfortable. So the stakes are actually pretty high. So here's our game plan for this little explainer. We're going to treat this like a real detective case. First, we'll survey the scene of the crime, the dry house itself. Then, we're going to interrogate our three main groups of suspects: water issues, what I like to call electrical gremlins, and the home environment. And finally, we'll give you your very own detective toolkit so you can do some simple checks yourself. All right, so every good investigation starts by understanding the actual problem. The humidity that you're supposed to have is just missing. Our job is to figure out why it's not being created in the first place. So let's track down our first set of suspects. So our first line of inquiry, it is all about the water. I mean, a humidifier is pretty useless without it, right? So we need to follow the trail from the pipe all the way to the unit itself. And we're going to look for anything that could be stopping the flow. Clogs, blockages, you name it. You know, when it comes to water, there are really two fundamental ways things can go wrong. On one hand, the supply line can get blocked, which means water can't even get in. Think of it like trying to drink through a straw that's got a piece of ice stuck in it. But on the other hand, the drain line can get clogged, and that means the old mineral-filled water can't get out, which can cause a backup and trigger the whole system to shut down for safety. And that brings us to one of our prime suspects, the saddle valve. You've probably seen one of these. It's a little clamp that installers use to quickly tap into a water pipe. The problem is, the hole it punches is tiny, and it's an absolute magnet for mineral buildup. Over time, that tiny hole can get completely blocked, starving your humidifier of the water it needs to do its job. And that mineral buildup or scale, it's the main villain for both of the common humidifier types. For the drum-style ones, that little hamster wheel that's supposed to pick up water just gets caked with this crusty white scale, so it can't evaporate properly. And for the flow-through types, the pad inside gets clogged with the exact same gunk, which chokes off airflow and evaporation. It's the same enemy, just a different method of attack. All right, we've interrogated our water-related suspects. Now it's time to trace the wires and hunt for a totally different kind of culprit, the electrical gremlins. These are those invisible problems that can stop your system dead, and the clues could be anywhere from the wall controller to the beep inner workings of the unit. So, let's talk about the Humidistat. You really need to think of this as the brain of the whole operation. It's got one job: read the humidity in your home and tell the humidifier when to turn on and when to turn off. If the brain isn't working right, the rest of the body just doesn't know what to do. Now, when the brain goes on the fritz, it's usually for one of two reasons. It could be a real malfunction where the sensor is just broken, but honestly, far more often, it's just set wrong. Maybe somebody bumped the dial, or maybe it just never got turned up for the winter. Seriously, always check the simple stuff first. Go look at the dial and make sure it's actually calling for humidity. And hey, beyond the Humidistat, there's a whole lineup of other potential electrical bad guys. We're talking about things like loose or corroded wires, a transformer that dies, a solenoid valve that gets stuck shut and won't let water in. It could even be an issue with your furnace's blower motor. Any one of these tricky culprits could be the smoking gun. Okay, so we've checked the water, we've investigated the power, but what if the problem isn't even with the humidifier? Sometimes the culprit is the environment itself. This means we have to look at how your house, and especially your ductwork, might be secretly sabotaging the whole operation. And here we have two classic partners in crime. First, you have leaks in your house itself. You know, drafty windows, gaps under doors. They just let all that nice humidified air sneak right outside. But what can be even worse are leaky ducts, because they let that comfortable air escape into your attic or your crawl space before it even has a chance to get to you. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? If your ducts are leaky, you are literally trying to fill a bathtub that has a giant hole in it. You're making all this wonderful humid air, but it's just gone. The same thing goes for blockages in the ducts. You might have perfectly humidified air leaving your furnace, but if it hits a wall of debris or, yes, some dust bunnies the size of dogs, it's never going to make it to your room. Okay, now I want you to pay close attention because this one right here, this is a huge one. The bypass damper. It's just a little lever on the ductwork near your humidifier. You open it for the winter, you close it for the summer. Forgetting to open this damper is an incredibly common reason a humidifier does absolutely nothing. It's like leaving a roadblock up. No air can get through the unit to pick up any moisture. Okay, we've identified all the usual suspects. Now it's time to empower you. Let's put together your detective toolkit. These are a few simple, totally safe checks you can do yourself before you even think about calling for backup. So here it is, your first 3 checks. Number 1, find that little water line going to the humidifier and make sure the valve is open. The handle should be parallel with the pipe. Number 2, go look at your humidistat and make sure it's actually turned up. And number 3, find that bypass damper lever and make sure it's flipped to the open or winter position. Honestly, these 3 steps solve a shocking number of cases all by themselves. So after all this investigating, after we've looked at water lines and electrical gremlins and air leaks, what is the single most common reason that a humidifier just fails to do its job? The answer? Well, it's almost disappointingly simple. And there it is. The number 1 culprit is simply a lack of maintenance. Yep, all those problems we just talked about, the scale buildup, the clogged valves, the dirty pads, almost every single one is either caused by or made way worse by just skipping the annual cleaning. It's not a very glamorous villain, I know, but simple neglect is the true arch-nemesis of your home's comfort. So, as we close the case file on the humidifier mystery, I'll just leave you with this one question. Is it possible that the comfort of your entire home, your health, your furniture, everything is being held hostage by a single clogged filter pad or one forgotten little lever? It's probably time to go check.